So today we're having Tuba. You will talk to us about conditional formatting in Excel, and then we'll also have question and answers. So first of all, the Excel learning community is being powered by YabiZedge. So YabiZedge is a registered Microsoft Excel consulting, financial modeling, and Power BI, and also enterprise solution firm in Nigeria, Lagos. So we do classes, so we have classes on financial modeling, on Power BI, on big data, on Excel, and also again we also do some enterprise solution. So today, guest speaker is Tuba, and Tuba is a Microsoft certified data analyst and also a Microsoft certified trainer. He's also very passionate about technology and finance. So you can reach out to Tuba via LinkedIn. Okay, so without any other further review, I'll welcome Tuba on stage. Hi, Tuba. Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Minute, please. Okay, is it better? So good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Let me put on my video. So just have some. Okay. Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. Or let me just say good day because I know it is not just limited to Nigerians alone. So good day, everybody, and you're welcome to today's XLR. So like if I mentioned, my name is Olongtoba Fashaki. I am a data analyst, and I'm privileged to work with data actually. So we'll be looking at the conditional formatting today, and okay. So let me share my screen. So okay. Sorry, I shared the wrong screen. Okay. So let me share again. My Excel. Okay, so can you see my screen now? I don't know what was on my Teams before.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So okay. All right. Thank you. So like I mentioned, I'll be talking about conditional formatting today, and so before I go forward, last week we had conditional formatting with formulas, so that was done by Victor Momo. Okay, what spreadsheet day? Okay, thank you. So that was done by Victor Momo last week. So we basically looked at conditional formatting with formulas, and so luckily for me, I would be talking about conditional formatting too. I don't know how we just probably we are in the realm of conditional formatting. I don't know. So talking about conditional formatting, like we mentioned, and like I'll be saying this today. So conditional formatting is basically formatting your cells, formatting your data, your cells basically based on some certain conditions, based on some certain criteria. So that is what conditional formatting basically is. And we'll be looking at different things today. We'll be looking at how we can, of course, I'll look at working with formulas too, though we touched that last week, but we'll just do some bits of it also today. Using tables also, how we can do conditional formatting on pivot table. So we'll be looking at that today, and how we can use it on drop down. So basically, those are the three things we'll be probably doing our demo on. But outside of that, we'll be looking at talking about conditional formatting in general, looking at custom formatting, looking at referencing, because that is one key thing that we are supposed to note, and relative referencing and all that, and tips on conditional formatting basically. So those are things we'll be looking at today. So before we go, I would like to appreciate go forward. I would like to appreciate those who are behind this. So that's Michael Olafusi, my big boss. If I also, so I would like to appreciate everybody for this platform, for this opportunity. And I would like to appreciate my guys who have actually been on this platform before. So it is a privilege to also be here. So I would really like to appreciate everybody and everybody that has joined into. Not like I'm better than anybody here, but it is just a privilege. Okay, so let me put up my so that it won't cause lag in our recording and in my screen. So let me put up my camera and then we'll go on. So basically, okay, you're welcome, Michael. So basically, custom formatting, conditional formatting, let me start from there. So like I mentioned, conditional formatting is basically formatting your data, formatting your cells based on some certain conditions. So this means you are not limited to how you want to. So you want your data to look like. So far it is meeting some certain criteria you have set for your data or your data set in general. So that would make conditional formatting. That will make the cell apply or adhere to those formatting that you have set in your table or in your data. So that is what conditional formatting is. So it is basically okay. So yours. Okay. So basically, it is formatting your data based on someone wants to talk. Okay. So conditional formatting is basically formatting your data based on some certain rules you have put in place in your data. So we'll be looking in depth into that shortly, but I would just like us to put that at the back of our minds as we go into it. So that is what conditional formatting basically is. And now I would like to talk about, because basically there are major two ways of doing formatting in Excel. I don't know if there are other ways, but of course, so I would say there are two ways. So that's custom formatting and conditional formatting, right? So custom formatting, before I talk about custom formatting, I would like us to have I would like to say something again. So according to my boss, that's David Brown, we would say format cannot change what is in a cell. So it can only change what you see in a cell, and what you see in a cell may not necessarily be what is in that cell. So I would expatiate furthermore on that, but let's just have that also. So let me repeat that again. A format cannot change what is in it. It can never change what is in a cell. It can only change what you see in a cell. And what you see in a cell may not necessarily be what is in that cell. Okay, so I'll talk more on that as we go on. So like I mentioned, let me talk about custom format. Custom formatting is basically formatting your data, formatting your cell based on based on what you actually want. It is just limited to, so whatever it is I want, not following some conditions, not following some criteria like how conditional format would do. So custom formatting is just you putting okay, I want my data to show this okay, let me do some things now so as for us to understand very well. So let's say I have let me put in some dates here. So 2210 2021. So let me just drag this down. So this is the date. But if I want to do something now, then I want to tell this, okay, Excel, don't recognize this as dates. Recognize them as numbers or something. So I can just come here and then do Control 1. So under your control, you see something called custom. So if I erase this, and say if I choose any of these, if I say okay, give me as so this is it. So if I'm telling Excel, okay, no, I don't want this as date, give it to me as a number. So this is an example of a custom formatting. This is just you working on your cells to actually meet what you want, not based on some conditions at all. It is just based on what you personally want. So that is basically custom format. That's just basic custom formatting. Of course, it is way deeper than this, but that's just basic custom format. So I wouldn't want us to actually be confused about it. So I'll just touch these things in the basic aspects, so we don't because I know of course there are some who are advanced and some who are on the basic level here. So I'll just touch it that way. So like I mentioned, conditional formatting is more of putting in some conditions. So I want my data, I want my data to be formatted in this particular way using this condition and all. So that is what conditional formatting is talking about. So that is what conditional formatting is talking about. And we'll look at conditional format in depth shortly. So now, before we go into conditional formatting, I would like us to note some things when it comes to conditional formatting. The first thing to note is the referencing in Excel. Sorry. So when it comes to referencing in Excel, there are two basic referencing styles. That's the absolute and the relative referencing. So the absolute referencing is one.
So I have one question. Like you mentioned about the conditional formatting. Okay. Now in conditional formatting, this can also be done by going above and changing the, like for example, changing only number. We can do percentage. We can do something. So can you show by example one condition? Like for example, something is there. We can apply that condition. If you will show in Excel, that will be like easy for the thing. If you can show.
Okay, so you're saying I should show a condition, right?
Yes.
Crash. Okay, yeah, so we'll be looking at that. Like I mentioned, we'll be going into that shortly. So let's not jump the bell. I hope. Is that fine by you? So we'll be looking at formatting using conditional formats shortly. Is that fine?
Yes.
All right, good.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Okay, so like I was mentioning, so referencing in Excel is actually key to your conditional formats, because we'll be looking at okay. So let me just show us how important referencing is in Excel. So like I mentioned, there are two ways of referencing your cells in Excel. There's the absolute and there's the relative referencing. So let me just do some things, and I would expatiate further on that using those examples so that we can easily understand, because I know the majority of us will just understand using demo and all. So let me say, okay, so using this now, and I would say, so if I'm to say, let me use some conditions. So if I say, okay, let me put in equals to this. Okay, let me just say, is it equal? Is it greater? Is it lesser than? So if I'm to continue dragging this, if I'm to drag it like this, then you are seeing that it is showing true, false, false. Why is it showing something like this? So let me just come back here. So if I come here now, you can see that this is showing K3 is less than 200,000. If I come to this cell, let me open it up. So it's showing L3. What has it done? Excel has, okay, Excel thought, okay, what I wanted to show is to have these conditions and to have this cell move. That's how Excel does. That's the default way Excel does, actually. So it is saying that you are referencing each cell in this format. So that is why it has moved from K here, it has moved to L here. So you can see, and here it will be, okay. So yeah, it has moved to M and L. So this is because I did not actually reference this cell absolutely. So this is something, this I did not reference, I did not lock the cell at all. So there was no absolute. So if I do something like this now, so if I press my F4 and I put in enter. So let me delete all this. So if I do something like this now, then I drag to the left. So you can see it's showing me all through because I have actually logged this. So it is not referencing other cells. So it is not referencing the column L, it's not referencing column M like the rest. So to check that, we can now open this up again. So you can see that it still remains the same. So I have fixed the column that I'm referencing using absolute referencing. So this is what absolute referencing means in Excel. So if I go to the next, so you can see that it still remains this same column, that it is still referencing the same column in Excel. So this is what absolute referencing basically means, not the relative reference I used the other time, not the other time that it was referencing each cells based on the default way. So this is what this is. I hope this you're able to understand this. I hope you're able to understand this. Or should I come again? Let's confirm if you understand this. Is this clear to us all? Is this clear? Because this is very key for conditional formats.
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you. So let me clean this
So
up.
basically, in this absolute differencing, we are seeing the two conditions, true and false. It is like that. Or
Sorry,
is there any difference?
sorry, I didn't. Can you come again, please?
I'm saying you have shown the two conditions, true or false. Like suppose this condition will be true and this condition will be false. So it comes in absolute differencing, or is there any something else we can see in absolute differencing?
Okay, so you're saying, is there something else you can see in absolute referencing?
Yes, yes. You have shown the two conditions, no? Like for example, this condition met, then it is true, or this condition is not met, then it is false. So other than these two conditions, is there something else in absolute differencing, or only these two conditions like are there? I don't know. I am asking.
Okay, so when it comes to absolute reference, it's either Excel returns true or false, or so from what we did, it's either it returns true or false, or probably 1 or 0. So those are the things it can return.
In absolute referencing, we are fixing the cell. That's it.
Yep. So we are not actually doing conditional formatting that way. It's just fixing the cell so that it doesn't reference something else when we are actually working in Excel. So I don't know if that is clear.
Okay, now it is clear.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, so that is what absolute referencing is, and we'll be looking at it in depth when we're going to conditional formatting in depth. So like I mentioned, I would like us to actually have them at the back of our mind. That's actually how to touch it first, so that we understand when we reach conditional formats, so that when we encounter any challenge, we can still come back using these two key referencing and to know, okay, this is where the error or the issue, the challenge may be coming out from. So that's way. So another thing we need to note when it comes to conditional formatting is you have to understand what exactly you want to do. So you have to understand what it is you want to do. If you don't understand what you want to do, then it is difficult. It will be difficult for you to actually do any formatting based on some conditions. So it will be very difficult for you to do anything based on some conditions. So understanding what it is that you need to do is very key to actually working with conditional formats in Excel. So that is that on that. So the next thing to note is actually apply the conditions first in the cell before going to apply the condition apply it on the conditional format. So whatever it is you want to do, the condition, you can just do it like an if statement or something. Just do it first, test them and see that it is working before going into conditional format and working it out. So this is basically when you're working with formulas, basically. So when you're working with conditional formulas, you have to, it is ideal you test them first before going fully into your conditional format. You test them and see that, oh, this thing works or it does not, before going fully into your conditional format to actually do that. So so that is that on that. So let me go into so let me just do a brief intro of what this data is all about. So this is just it's something I came up with. So it is just a sales data set. So a sales data set, and so we have names of salesperson here. So we have names of salesperson here, and then the branches. We have the product type, and they are just 3 products: so computers, furniture, mobile phones, and then the branches they are just Ebonyi, Imo, Kwara, Lagos, Ogun, Osun, and Oyo. And so the units sold for each salesperson, the amount each gadget is, each product is actually and then the revenue generated, the dates. So this is basically, let's say, end of the month. So this column, okay, this column is not needed. Let me just delete this for now. So let me just remove this column. So so the remark of each salesperson, poor, good, and all at the end of the month. So that is what it is. So so we'll be doing some conditional formats on this data. So I would like us to actually be attentive. So now to start with conditional formats, you come to your home tab. And so you, under your styles group, you see something called conditional format. You see format as a table and all, but we are working with conditional formats. So now to do that, let's just so what I basically want to do here, okay, let me just show us some things on conditional format before I go into what I want to do. Let's just do some briefing on conditional formatting. So when it comes to conditional format, you can format on some default conditions set in here. So you can highlight cells based on if the cell is greater than, if it is less than, between, equals to, a text that contains something, a date occurring, duplicate values, and so you can also use this on top or bottom rules, top 10 items, top 10 percentage, and all that. So you can use data bars. You can use data bars in your as a format in your table. You can also use color scales. So you can use all these. So you can see as I'm highlighting, they're actually changing. So you can use the icon set. You can use the icon set based on what you want. Another thing is you can also come here and then do some new rules. You don't want you see that, okay, this okay, let me go back here. So if you see that, oh, these things here are not exactly matching with what I have, after you've understood what exactly it is you need, you now realize that, oh, these things are not actually, they're not working fine for me. So let me just, I think I need to be flexible enough to actually do something better than this. So Excel has got you, and then there's a new rule. So under this new rule, you can format all cells based on their values. You can format only cells that contain something, contain a text, so you can see contain specific text, date occurring, and all this. And so you can also format only top or bottom rank values. You can also format using only unique or duplicate values that are above or below average or something. So you can also format using a formula. So you can also format using a formula, and then you paste the formula here, and then you go on. So we are still going to come back to using Excel, a formula to determine which cells to format as we go on. So let me close this. So now what I want to do here is now, I have a drop down here. So let me just, okay, I think I should show you how I came about this drop down. Okay. So something like, let me just delete this. And so something like this remark, let me just put it here, because so that for those who don't really understand what it is here. So I have a table here. So it is performance status. Is this person good, or as the status of this salesperson, has it been poor or good, based on some conditions, based on their performance, the amount they've been able to generate. This is the benchmark and all. So, but for us not to go do further much into this, let me just go into data validation, and okay, so let me just, so you would come here and then you have a list. So your source, you just come here for your source. I like this, and so this way you can choose if this person is good or poor. Okay, I did highlight L. So let me just come back and just do this Control Shift down. The validation. Yes. Okay. Okay, so this way I am able to come up with, oh, this person is good or poor. So I can just, so let me just do something now. Okay, so now we want Excel to actually be able to know if this person if this salesperson has actually done well or not. If person has done well, please highlight the person. If the person is doing poorly, then highlight red, because normally red is used to denote poor performance, and then green to denote, oh, this person has been doing well. So how do we do that in conditional formats? This is just a basic conditional format. We'll not really go too much into the advanced, but I would like us to actually follow through so we can get the best out of it. So now to do conditional format, like I mentioned, you go to your home, and so what we want to do here is to actually format this table and check if this particular salesperson has been doing good or not. So to do that, you just come under, so based on this condition, you can just come under highlight cells, and so I would like to come under text that contains, because I want to know if this person has done good or has done well, or has been poor in his performance or his or her performance. So it has to be a text that contains. So I can come here and then do a text that contains, and then I can type in good And so if I may want to have a light red field with dark red text, or I can come under custom format and choose some other things. I can format it to my taste, choose another color. Like I mentioned, person is doing good, then it has to be green. So so let me do this, and so the font, I want a black text inside. So this is that. So this is able to show that, oh, this person has been doing. So you're able to know that, oh, this particular person is doing good. This is doing okay. So if I want to do the poor now, I can come here again. So let me highlight my cell, and then contains poor, evaluate the text that contains poor. So this is just basically it. So I can now fill this one with a red. Okay. So this is just to show that, okay, this person is doing poorly and this is doing good. So I can easily know that, oh, this Shola is actually doing good. Is okay. So we may need to probably increase his salary or something, depending on what I want to do in my organization. Probably we may need to have to tell Martins, because he has been doing poorly, to up his game, or Rose that has been doing poorly to actually up our game. So something like that. So this has been able to actually help us detect easily who has been doing good or poorly. So imagine something like this. You can't see my screen. Or can anybody see my screen? I'm actually sharing. Should I share again?
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay.
You can see your screen.
All right. Thank you. Okay, so you can imagine you have something as a big data, a large data set, probably spanning close to 1 million rows and all. So this way you can actually be able to have your you can easily identify, okay, this particular person is doing well or not in your organization. So something like that. Okay, good. Thank you for confirming. You can see my screen now. So that is that using drop down. Though there's still some modifications we can do to this, but I would like to leave it here. All right, so the next one I would like to work on is using tables. So this is actually a bit, I would like us to actually pay attention here, because we may actually miss out on some things if we do not follow through here. Okay, now, so I actually got some conditions, but I would not for this. Is it next? Okay, let me just leave it. So now I want to work with. I want to use conditional format on a pivot table, right? So to do that, I would so let me just click here and then come under insert. Under the insert tab, there's something called pivot table. Under the tables group or the table section, there's something called pivot table. So to work with pivot table, I'll just click on the from table range, and I want to be on a new worksheet. So it has highlighted the table, and then so it's asking me here, or I will just want a new worksheet. So now I want to see, okay, name of my salesperson, the revenue they've been able to generate. So that's the value, and I would like to see the products. Also, so let the product be under column. So I want to see it by the column, by the product, right? So okay, doing this now, let me remove the grand total. I don't want the total here. So let me just remove all these. Okay, good. So now I want to actually be able to format and be able to show my best performing salesperson in each using each product. When it comes to sales of computer, who is the best salesperson? Best when it comes to selling furniture, mobile phones. So this is just a basic thing. Though of course my data is not that large, so some may actually notice who is the best salesperson before we do conditional format, but it would be easier when we have a conditional format to actually highlight, oh, who is the best and who is not the best. If I'm to look at it now, so let me ask, so when it comes to computers, who is actually the best salesperson when it comes to computer? Is it obvious to us? Is it obvious to us? Can you quickly identify who is the best salesperson when it comes to sales of computers? When it comes to the revenue generated in the region of computer, is it actually clear? Is this something we can easily? I think I can see that. Okay, Eniolua is in. Okay, good. Yeah, but to save us all this dilemma, to save us all this stress, it is just best we have ourselves. We use the conditional format for this. So to do this, I would like to. So just click on this. Okay, so let me just do this first. Let's just so we come under home again, do conditional formats, and so let's use database. So let's use database. Let me use a solid field. Let me just use a color. Okay, so let me do something because my columns are not actually the same size and database would be affected. So let me. Sorry. Okay. So okay. So now I want I'm seeing the data. So it has been able to show that okay, yeah, it has been showing the difference based on the variations. So it has been showing that, but more than this, I want because it is very difficult to identify for computers to identify who is actually doing best because everything is highlighted the same color and the same way. So I want each conditional format for each product, not this old computers, furnitures, mobile phone, and all. So I want to do a conditional format for each one of these products and be able to quickly identify which one is doing best, right? So now to do that, I would so I can just come here and then go back to conditional formatting, and so let's go to manage rules. So let's just edit this rule. So so for us to now do this now, we would now check, instead of us having this conditional format for this, for the old table, we now based it on a selected cell. Okay, so let me go back and so edit this rule for selected cells. Where is that? Okay. Where's this? Okay, a minute please. So conditional format, manage rules. This rule applies to this, and format data bar. Yep. Okay, format cells that contains, nope. I'm actually sorry, but I'm actually looking for waiting on. So there's
you want to restrict the data bar to be a certain color for certain text. So I think is that cell that contains whatever, and then you need to use the name of that product also to.
No, not exactly. So what I exactly want to I'll look for it. At times it can just be, but I'll look for it. So what I exactly want to do is now for these computers, I want it to actually I want a format for it. So I want to select the range of what the format, and so the colors and all that is to be applied for that. So based on their values, okay. Okay, so let me check something. Okay, the border no fill. If I change this, it's still going to change for everybody, for everything. No, nope. No, it's changing for everything, so I don't want this. Let me delete this. Let me go to this. Okay. Up. Where's this thing? Nope. Excel's not going. Okay. Okay. So basically, what I want to show is so I would actually get what I'm looking for, but let me see again. Manage rules and cannot this based on edit the group description type given. Okay. Okay. No, not this. Okay, so I would come back to this. So let me just but I will come back to this. Of course, we'll get why this is not working. It has to work. It has to troubleshoot. I'll troubleshoot it and see what is exactly wrong with it. Okay. Let me go again and see edit rule. I want to actually I don't want it to be, because everything is also at the same time looking clumsy. I want it to actually be for each specific product. I want it to be for specific products. Okay, but I would come back to this. So let me just go to the last one. So I would come back to this because of our time. So I would not have us delayed, but I would touch on this again. I would see what is actually wrong, but I know I would get to the root of it. All right, so sorry about that. So let's just quickly go to formulas, using formulas. Now, for this now, I want to actually be able to see now, using our benchmark. Let me copy this. So using our benchmark. So let me see. Using our benchmark. So I want to actually be able to format this table. So I want to format if this particular salesperson. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me delete this. So I want to be able to see if this particular person is actually meeting a criteria from, okay, so if it's meeting this is the benchmark for the units every salesperson is supposed to sell. So this is the benchmark given to everybody. So you have to, at least as a furniture salesperson, you are expected to sell 10 in a month and generate 2 million in revenue. And as one who sells computers, you have to sell 40 and generate 10 million at the end of the month. So as one that works on selling mobile phones, you have to sell 30 at least in a month and come up with 8 million at the end of the month. So using this, would now, so I want to test if each salesperson is able to meet the benchmark given. If the person has met it, then show green. If the person has not, so show red. So this is a format. This is a conditional format that I want to give to my my data. I want to format this data based on this condition. If it is able to meet this particular prerequisites, that is if the unit sold meets up with this, then the person is doing fine. And if it should meet up with this also, then that is fine also. So that is that on that. So let's go fully into that. Let me just quickly walk around that. So let me highlight the data. So so like I mentioned, that you need to just test what exactly it is you want to do first. So just test what is it you want to do, and so that is something like this. So I would not want us to actually write too much formulas. So I just like us to tweak this formula. So what this formula is, this particular one is an and is an and. I use the and formula. So this is saying this C2 is it equals to furniture? Is it equals to furniture? And C2 this, okay, this should be D3. D2 is it matching up with this? And F2, that's the revenue, is it matching up with this, with the N3? So that is what this formula is basically telling you. Let me just put something like that. So you can just say equals to and you have to test if this one is equals to furniture. If this one, so that is cell C2. So this is where your referencing comes in, because I mentioned that when it comes to writing formulas, you must writing formulas in conditional format. The basic thing that you have to put at the back of your mind is the referencing, the relative and the absolute referencing, right? So looking at the referencing now, you would need to, because you want to write, okay, reference this cell C2, and you don't want it to actually be moving from C2 to move to D2 to move to E3. You want it to remain on this column C. So what you have to do is to do an absolute, a relative reference on this particular cell. So you press F4. This is an absolute reference. So you can see the dollar sign before the column and the dollar sign before the row. So, but we don't want just the column to be locked, not the row, because we want it to actually populate down till the end of the table. So we press F4 again, and this time it has actually locked the row and not the column. So we make it one more time, and then it has locked the column and the row is available to. So when you now, that is the, we reference this. So you now say, is it equals to furniture? You put your double quotes. Furniture is equals to furniture. And another logical thing that and will test for is okay, after the first one, the next one is it equals to, there's another logical test we want to do again. That is, if this unit sold is equals to this benchmark that's been set, is this person, the amount this person sold for this month, is it equal to this amount? So that would be that's D2. Is D2 equals to or greater than, because greater than this. So we lock this because we don't want it to move out of this cell. So we do absolute referencing on this. So you can see that there's a dollar before the M and then there's a dollar before the row. So this means we have actually locked it, so it can't move to any other cell. It can't move to any other cell that way. And so the next thing we are testing, the next logical test we want to do is for if this revenue, is it matching up to this? Is it matching up to this or probably more than? So that would be F2. Is F2 equals to or greater than this, and then we'll lock it. So we do. Okay. So we just populate this down. So the reason why it's showing false for everything is because majority of it does not contain furnitures. Okay, I can see, I see something. So furnitures here is S. So let me populate that down again. So you can see that some is showing school. So for every furniture here, you can see that it is showing. So for this is just the basic. So of course, there's no one way fits to everything. There are divers of ways we can do this, but I'll just have this done. So I can just copy this formula. Though there'll be some tweak I'll be doing in conditional formats in the formula, but in the formula aspects when in conditional format I'll be doing on this data to actually be able to get the desired results I want. Okay. So now to do this, now come under new rule. Let me come under new rule, and you see something. Use a formula to determine which cell to format. So now to do this, I'll come here and then I'll paste the formula here. So this formula is saying that is C2 equals to furniture, and is D2 equals to this D2. You can see D2 here is equals to this to M2, and F2 here is equals to this. So if it is equal, if it is equal or greater than, so do what? Format this for me. Put in a green field and a black. Let's use a black. Let me use a little bit dark font. Okay, so this. Okay. Okay, so we have been able to. Okay, no, this is not actually right. Okay, let me go back here. So let me see my format again. Let's go back to the format. So we're saying, and this C2 equals to furnitures, comma, and then D2 equals to D2, is it greater than or equals to this M3, this, and F2, is it equals to this, and okay. So
I think it has something to do with furnitures and furniture. That's why it's highlighting only those there.
Okay, furnitures and fun. Okay, so I can see furnitures here. Okay, so the S.
Maybe you should try removing S. Yeah.
Okay, come in. I did not reference this cell especially, so, but let's see. Furnitures. Okay, let me cancel this. So I did not really reference this cell, so I don't think this should be. But let me actually see what is wrong with the formula again. I think it's the formula. So so this is okay. So if this C2, this is C2 equals furnitures, right? And D2, so this is cell D2, that's 3. Is it greater than or equals to M3, comma, and F2 equals to N3? So this, and it is locked. So let's see again. So let me go back to conditional formats. Let me clear the rules. So so let me paste the formula, and furnitures equals to furnitures. Yep. D2 is greater than or equals to M3. This, and F2. Okay, so format this. And then the font, give me okay, speak black. Oh, it's still doing the same thing.
I think it's your reference for columns E and F. You probably want to lock them too. Is there a reason why they are relative and maybe not partially fixed?
Okay, let me check them. Let me check that. Sorry, manage rules, and So, okay. I can see. Yep. Thank you for that. So this should be logged. This should be okay. Okay. So this should work now. Yep. So this. So thank you for that. I was actually not looking at that. So thank you for that. All right. So it has been able to detect that, okay, this is for furnitures. These are the ones that are great, that has matched the condition I gave, which is it greater than as the person sold more than 10? You can see this person has sold more than 10, and has it been able to generate over 2 million in revenue? Fine. So that is that. So now to actually now test the other aspect of the condition, that is for those who actually did not match the benchmark. So let's do something on that again. So I'll go to manage rules, and so let me just copy this so that we would. So we just come to new rule again, and so we use a formula, and so this time we are saying if it is less than the benchmark. So let's just quickly do something. Is it less than this benchmark of this and this? Is it less
One
than?
doubt I had.
Sorry?
Hello. Yeah, I had one doubt. So you kind of fixed the the column, but you didn't fix the row. Didn't get the logic behind that.
Okay, yeah. So what actually happened? Like I mentioned, was the absolute reference and the relative reference. So I did not fix in any reference to the column. I was for this D2 and the F2. So I did not lock down the column. I just I left it open. So that was why it was not actually picking them up. So that was why it was like that. So did you get that? Is it clear?
So you locked the column. So you locked D, but you didn't lock the row. So it's checking for every row. Is that what you mean?
No. I did not lock the column and row before. So I did not lock the row and column before. Yep. But I later saw that I did not lock it, so I had to just lock the column and leave the row without being locked. So that was why it was able to now work perfectly. Is that clear?
Okay. Now it's passing every row. Is it? For the condition you check. So now it's checking for every row in the table with the benchmark. Is it?
No, it is not. It is not checking for every row. It is checking for the rows I set in. So what I actually wanted it to do is to check for this unit sold. So it is checking this D for the unit sold. Is it matching this? And also this revenue. So not exactly everything, but the reason why it is highlighting everything was because I wanted to highlight the entire row. That's why I highlighted the entire table and not just a column. So that is why it is highlighting the entire row. But I did not want it to. I did not base the condition on the entire row, but just some selected rows. So.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So for this now I can. So for this I would now say for furniture. So I would say D2. D2 is less than this, so that's M3, and F2 is less than, if F2 is less than M3, so I've locked this, and I would say format. Okay, let me go back. So M2 equals furnitures, comma D2 is less than this. So if it is less than this. If it is less than units sold, fine. And is your F2 less than your revenue? Okay, so format this and okay. C2 and D2 furnitures, D2, F2 is less than N3. So if this is less than it, so I want to actually find. Are you, hello, Steve? Okay, so I'm having and C2. So this C2 is it equals to furnitures, right? And D2 is D2 also equals to M3. So this is M3 and it is locked. So if my F2 actually equals to, is it less than N3? So if it is, so fill. So I want to fill it red. Okay, it should not apply to, should apply to the entire. Okay. Okay. So let me just come again on this rule. So again. So okay, so let me come again on that rule. So okay, edit rule. This C2, the furnitures and okay. So now we've been able to get this. So this is saying, this said is furnitures less than the units sold. If it is, then, and is the revenue less than the benchmark? So if it is, then highlight it red, and this is what it has done. So it has highlighted it red. So this is, so another thing we need to check for is the, so for computers, because that's another product. So we can just go to our conditional format again and so manage rules, and you add a new rule to it, and so you can do something like this and say your C, so is it equals to computers? Is it equals to computers? And D2 is equals to, since the benchmark for computer is in M4, so this would not be M3 anymore. It would be M4, and this would be N4. So this, so if C2 equals to computers, no, so let me just reference these computers. Let me just so let me copy this. So if C2 equals to computers and D2, so it is saying is D2 also equals to M2, as is it equals to M4 rather, so as it equals to the amount we've sold, that's 40 amount, the benchmark we have set for the amounts to sell for computers in a month. And the revenue, has the salesperson been able to generate 10 million in revenue? So if he has done that, then what is the format? Okay, so, let me see. So it's saying if he has done that, so what is the format? So that would be, let's just use another type of green. Let's use this green, and so we are good to go. Okay, D2. Saying D2, so this is D2 equals to M4. Okay. Okay, so again.
So you shouldn't you be selecting the entire table rather than one row?
Yes,
I mean,
I have that. So now we are saying that it's saying that with this, for those who have been able to sell more than 40 computers and generate revenue over 10 million. So we have just these three people. So that's Iniolua, Martins, and so just Martins and Iniolua. So that's on that condition. Now the other way of the condition is to be able to now see manage rules. So for those who have not been able to meet up with that that condition, so we can use a formula to determine. Okay, so let me highlight the entire table first before we do that. So so we can just use the formula. So this one we are saying if it is lesser than M4 and a bit, okay. So this now we wanted to format it. Let's choose another kind of red, so as to know, okay, this is for so yep, and let's see. So if the C2 is equals to computers and D2, the unit sold is less than the amount said, that's if it is less than 40 and the revenue generated is less than the benchmark we had set, so format that with this kind of red. So that is what this formula is saying, and we will apply. So we apply. Okay, so I'm seeing a question here. So for computers, can we take D3 as well? Yes, you can. You can actually. You can, because but I would just want it to start from the first from the first row down to the last. And that's why I'm choosing C2. So if you want to choose, because of course the first one is obviously not containing computers, so you can actually select C3, but the best way is just to have it from the start, so that if I now change this C2, if I change it from furniture, if I change it to computer, probably there was a mistake and I'm changing it back to computer. If I have set in my formula that, okay, Excel only read from C3 downwards, then if I change this to computer, the conditional format will not apply to it, because the Excel is not referencing, because it was not in the formula. So it is best practice to start from the top to the last row, irrespective of whether it is inside, if it contains the condition you want or not. So I don't know if that answers your question. All right, thank you.
One more doubt I have.
Okay.
Yeah, so for example, if we want to select only two conditions, like here, all the four are applied at once in the table. So if I want to choose only two, is there a way to do that?
If you want to choose only two what?
Two formula, like all the four are applied currently in this table, right? If I want to choose only two formulas in the conditional formatting rules manager.
Okay, if you want to choose only two formulas, say this one and this.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so if you want to just choose these two computers and this, yeah, you can choose them, but I don't really understand what you mean by choosing just this. So you don't want to actually apply other formulas. You just want these two. Yeah. This first one. Yes, you can, but So looking at it, because it depends on, like I said, there's no one way to all everything. So it depends on the condition you have. There you can probably, it depends on how well you're able to think, okay, this. So instead of me writing all this, I can just write a formula that would be able to satisfy all the conditions I need and would be able to meet, would be able to generate exactly what I need. So once you get that formula right, then you can just write that single formula and is able to do every other thing. So something like this, of course, if it is in normal Excel, you could have done something like ifs or something, but because conditional formats, so you can just use all this. So that's why I'm going through all this process. So I don't know if that's, yep. All right, so there's the hand up, Elvis.
Yeah, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
So based on what she just asked now, I just want to suggest probably if she just wants the first two conditions to apply and she doesn't want the third and the fourth to apply, I think she should probably edit where we have the bar that says applies to. You can probably delete where it applies to, so that you just have the condition being applied on the other two. I don't know if you're getting my point.
Yeah, that can work.
Okay. It was just a suggestion, though. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Elvis. So, thank you. All right. Okay. So, now to continue. So the next one I would like is the mobile phone, because we've done practically everything. So just the mobile phone, and so to do the mobile phone, I can just come under new rule again, and so before I do, let me just have someone walk me through this formula for the mobile phone. So can someone just walk me through on how I can be able to write it, looking at the previous two examples we've used? I want someone, can someone volunteer to actually walk me through on how to write for the last condition, that's for the last product, that's mobile phone. So as to actually see if we get. Wants to volunteer to do that, or you want me to just run my show myself? Should I run my show myself? Okay, let me do that myself. I think there's no volunteer, so, but please let's go through it together. So now for this, so to do that, let me just paste the formula I wrote before. Now instead of us just having computers, we are testing for mobile phone. So we can just can put in mobile phone. You can reference the cell if you want also. So mobile phone, and then you are testing if D2, and so this time you are not testing for M4 anymore, because mobile phone is on the cell row 5 and of column M. So you just change this to 5, and so N4, you change N4 to 5, and so you just do put in your format. So so you're putting in your format. So I would like to choose a bit of a lighter green. Choose a lighter green, and okay, so let me choose the font color, make it a dark. Okay, so this, if I apply this now, you can see. So it has shown me that, okay, for mobile phone, those are those who were able to sell over 30% and 30 mobile phones for that month, and the revenue generated was 9.9, was over 8 million. So let me go back to the formula so we can see. so that we can fully understand what it is I have done here. So let me go back to the formula. So let's just go through the formula again. Like I mentioned, it is not something complex actually. So basically what I've done here, so I used the AND function, and I said and I'm saying C2. So like I mentioned, I locked this column. That's this column, I locked it. So that means it should not go beyond column. Anything that this formula wants to read should not go beyond this column C. So that is why this dollar sign is at the front. And so I'm saying the row 2. So I'm saying start from row 2. Now the 2 is not locked because I don't want it to just be limited. I don't want it to be absolute or fixed on column C and 2 alone. I want to actually be able to go down, populate down, and read other rows too, and not just column C and row 2 alone. That's why it is not locked. That's why there's no dollar before the 2, right? Now I'm not telling it if is this column C row 2 equals to mobile phone. Is it? So if it is equals to mobile phone, is it also equal to, is D2, that's the unit sold, is it equal to this benchmark that has been set? So that is why I'm saying is the column D2, this one that is locked, is it the same thing as this 5? And N is N column, so F2 is equals to this column N. So doing that, and I was able to format it. So that is, and I applied formatting, and that was that on that. So let me just quickly do the last one before I go back to the tables and I see what is actually wrong with it. So now this one, okay, new rule. So use the formula, and then I'll do this. So instead of me doing this, I mean, mobile phone, and I want it to be, if it is smaller, if it is lesser than the benchmark we have set, then highlight for me in okay. So this, I can now choose the field color. So
sorry, it's mobile phone, not mobile phones.
Yeah, mobile phone. Okay, mobile phone, yeah. Thank you. So is the mobile phone lesser than the, okay, the sales, okay, yeah, mobile phone, yep, thank you. Okay, so this should work. So format it red. So let me apply that. So this is basically showing that, okay, for my salesperson, these are the people who are able to meet the requirements, the benchmark set for the month. So it is basically easier for us to actually be able to identify, okay, these are people who have been able to meet and not people who have not been able to meet. So this works fine, but because of time, let me just quickly jump back to this table and see what is, and so we can actually troubleshoot what is actually wrong with this. So let me go back to the conditional formats and manage rules. So so manage rules. Edit the rule. So okay, so we can actually ask our questions while I actually see what is actually wrong with this. So I can just work with it.
Okay, so please, I joined in pretty late. Can we have this Excel book? Can we have access to it?
Yes, I can send it to us. Send it via the chat.
Yeah, you can send it on. I'll attach it to the YouTube video. So that's.
I can send it via YouTube, right? I can send it to you.
You can send it to me, and when I'm posting the video, I'll attach it to the YouTube video. You can also send it via the chat also again, in case she needs it immediately.
Okay. So that works too. Works too. So are there questions? I'm fine.
Questions. Okay. So, no questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so if there are no questions, then I think I'm fine. So the only thing I can just show you is so now to show I can move instead of having these bars. Okay, I'm seeing a question. How do you stop if true? Okay, so let me go back. So basically, stop if true is actually talking about, so if you have different conditions, if you have say you want your condition format to stop when there's a condition that has been met. So now imagine something like this. So let me go back to this. Let me go back to something like this. So imagine this now, and the condition I actually want is if any salesperson has been able to be able to sell 10 furnitures and has been able to generate 200 revenue. So that if I now put in those conditions, so I will now come to my conditional format. So I'll come to my conditional format and tell Excel that, so if that condition has been met, then you can stop and disregard other formats. So that is what it is that you can use stop if true for. So I don't know if that is clear enough.
Hello, thank you very much. Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, please, can you demonstrate it using since we have multiple conditions here now?
Okay, looking at this condition now, so it won't match exactly what we want, because there's no need for stop if true here, because okay, so let me see how can we work our way around it. Okay, so that means that we have to edit these formulas. That means we have to edit these formulas and be able to use it. So I can say, okay, so instead of me saying if this formula, so I can edit this formula and now say, instead of using mobile, if this is equals to mobile phone and less than, okay, let me see if we can tweak our formulas to actually match that. So this will take a lot, because we have to start tweaking the formulas and to match, so as not to match what exactly it is we want, so that once there's a match, then it should stop at that particular match. So that's what we can do. So, but it will take us tweaking the formula a bit. So I don't know if we can actually, okay. So now I've been able to, so I can now okay. So I'm saying, let me go back here. I'm saying if is and C2 is equals to mobile phone, yes, and D2 actually less than M4. So let me tweak this formula a bit and say greater than M4. So you can see now, because I've used stop if true now. So has stopped when it is supposed to actually meet this. So that's why you can have all this. Okay, let me close this. There's my format. So let me just show us what I did exactly. So I'm saying if is mobile phone now equals to D2 and M4, is mobile phone, is C2 equals to mobile phone? If it is not, and is D2 equals to M4? So if it is not, format this. But now because I've used stop if to, because it has met other conditions, that is why this is not actually formatted. That's why you can see all this stopped formatting because other conditions has been met. So it has stopped because there have been school conditions that has been met. So I don't know if that is clear.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so I think I'm done because of time. So, but if there are still questions, I'm still here.
Thanks a lot.
No. Can you share this file? Can you share the recording of this session?
Yes, it will be available by tomorrow.
Yes, it will be available.
Okay, fine.
It will be available by Monday. By Monday, it should be available. Okay, so
where it will be available?
Yes, it will be available on YouTube, on the YouTube channel. Just look for Your BZ on YouTube. Your BZ. So
YouTube
I'll post
by Monday.
Yeah, by Monday. Let me post the name of the channel. So Your BZ. So that's the name of the channel. So if you just look for it on YouTube, the file will be available on Monday. Okay, so Toby, thank you for a wonderful session. So I want to ask you some questions, which usually ask our guest speakers.
Oh, okay.
So I just want to ask you how you started about your data analytic journey so far. About your data analytic journey. So just give us brief. And any advice to those that also want to start out.
So basically, for me, my data analysis journey started while I was in school. So while I was in university, I started with learning different things. I started with learning Python because I always wanted to be an IT person. So I started with learning Python, learning JavaScript, learning HTML also in school. But while I was doing that, I knew that was not. I knew that was not just my thing because there was no love so much for it. I was just doing because so I wanted to just know this thing. But when eventually I came in contact with data science, and I actually just fell in love with it at first sight. So then I came in contact with data analysis again, making visualizations and all that using Excel and Power BI, and so that is where I actually started the journey from. And since that, I have been working on actually getting better at it. So that is where my journey started from. So the other question I would like to answer is so the way I would like to answer the second question is actually so far it is something you love doing. Just go for it. Give it your best shot at every time. Don't relent. Keep working on making yourself better. Keep making yourself getting a better version of you. Don't think you have actually learned enough. There are still more grounds to cover. So it is that hunger that I would like to advise us on. Let us remain hungry, and we would get better at what we do as we get even more hungry. So that is what I would advise.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I also want to remind everybody that we have a session which is going to take place in around 35 minutes, which will be on Power BI. So the session will be about it's going to be more about creating a resume in Power BI. So our speaker will be talking about his experience as a Power BI developer, how you can get started as a Power BI developer, and so much more. And next week we have
Can
next week.
can
Yeah, hello.
can Excel dashboard can be covered because these are the Excel dashboard is nowadays very famous and like many companies are using. So can it be covered in next session, in the upcoming section, how to make Excel dashboard, about the basic ideas and about how new techniques are coming.
Yes, that can be covered. Yeah, that's why I dropped a feedback form where you can suggest topics and speakers, and that could also be covered. And I think we also someone covered it earlier this year. Someone covered it earlier on the YouTube channel. Let me just, if I check the page, I'll see the speakers name. There's a lady that came and she covered about Excel dashboards. But if you drop the link, if you drop your suggestion in the feedback form, that will be very, very helpful. But I'll note that. Then also again, but next week we already have a topic, so that will be covered maybe in 2 weeks' time. So next week we already have a topic. Blackwood will be talking to us about automating navigation in Excel, where he said he will just cover hyperlink, creating flexible hyperlinks, using some functions, and a lot more. Also using macros and VBA codes and icons. So again, Toba, thank you for an interesting session today and on conditional formatting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
So I'm trying to look for the link.
Thank you, Toba.
I'm trying to look for. Okay, I've seen the link, so I'll post it, and you could fill it up with any speaker and any topic you want us to cover, and I'll look for speakers on that topic. So that's the link in this comment section. Okay, now so thank you and see you in 30 minutes in the Power BI session.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Bye. So, bye.